Okay, y'all. I saw Brittany go off on Anthony, and we gotta talk about it. Let's talk about it, y'all. Um, I understand Brittany's point of view. That's your best friend, and you've been there for her. You had her back, but did you? Because you were married, and your marriage ended up the same way. So I understand why she feels the way she does. Because I have a feeling that her husband cheated on her, and she went through the same thing. So I understand why Brittany feels the way she feels. But Brittany, the one time that Amber had a chance to move on, you messed that up for her. Let me explain. You went after a man that Amber was interested in that probably could have helped her move on from this. But you ended up sleeping with him. This your fault. This your fault, homegirl. Because if you would have pushed Amber to talk to Kelvin about who the girl is, because now we know the woman that Kelvin was actually hugging was his sister. We now know that's who that was. If she would have had a conversation with Kelvin, none of this would be going on. She would not be going back to her husband. And she wouldn't be. You did this. Because if you really wanted her to move on, you would have pushed her to talk to Kelvin to find out who the girl was, or you would have asked him who was the woman. That way, you could have found out that was his sister, and that way, them two would have been able to get closer. So at the end of the day, she'd have been better off with Kelvin helping her to move on as a friend who could have been something, potentially something more. But no, you did that. You pushed her to Victor. And like I said, this is what I'm saying. That I saw the live that Shayla did. And somebody asked, was there writers or do they improv? They improv. That's the problem. That's the problem with these skits. They're improv. You can't do improv with these type of skits. It don't work, and it's not working. And I've been saying this, and there's another lady that's been saying this, and I keep forgetting her name. But we've all been saying, including a few others, we've been saying they need writers. This is no longer a improv type of skits. This is real life situations. Because now, then what was the point of bringing Kelvin? What was the point of bringing... It's like they come up with these ideas, but then they'll veer off to a whole nother way. Look, no. Wayne, y'all need writers. Seriously. Because like I said, we may still get a divorce because if Shayla turns out to be pregnant yet again, it's going to be a problem. Like I said, in the real world, there are people that do forgive and they do stay with a man despite the fact of having a baby outside the wedlock. Some people do. But there are a lot of people that just ain't. So like I said, we're going to have to see part 2 and see how that play out. It's just like this whole situation with Momo. Where are all these people coming from? So like I said, I just think they really need to get writers at this point. They need professional writers at this point. The improving is not working. It ain't. It's just making things worse and more confusing. Because the fact that Brittany still has not told Amber about what she found out, the fact that she still ain't went back to apologize to Dalen about the fact that Dalen tried to tell her, because that's where all of this is coming from. This is all coming from the fact that she just found out her life has just been turned upside down. So it's like they forget about what they improv and then they do something else. No, Wayne, please get some writers. You need writers at this point. Because now none of this is making any sense. It ain't. It ain't making sense at all. It's like they forget what they did the last scenes or what happened prior. You're still trying to make the same scenarios happen. And we've already been through this. Just like Melissa and Sonny. Why didn't we have Sonny move on? And as for Sonny and Sonny's sister and Sean, I love that conversation. And he was honest. He said at first I did like Jocelyn at first, but Jocelyn kept putting me in the friend zone. He was honest. So he needs to tell Jocelyn before he tells Sonny. He needs to tell Jocelyn that he's interested in Sonny. Because that way Jocelyn can move forward. Because at the end of the day, the only person that's meant for Jocelyn is Ralphie. Like I said, every time they with other people, it just don't work out. Them two need to be together and just call it a day. That's who need to be together. Because his situation ain't working out, her situation ain't working out. They just need to go ahead on and just go ahead on and be together. But like I said, Shayla be back soon. And like I said, Anthony, you still got to deal with that. But we'll see the scene of what's going to happen after the Brittany thing of her going off. But I can't blame Anthony. That's my house. You ain't coming to my house disrespecting me. But at the end of the day, this is the choice that Amber made. And this is something that whether people agree with it or not, it ain't your situation. Like Wayne said, this is something that you're choosing. But it's going to come with some people being pissed off. And that's because they've been there for you and they supported you. And now they see you back with this man. And now they're thinking you're basically being made a fool of. So like I said, that fool me twice situation. So for those of y'all that wanted them back together, you got what you wanted. But this is what's going to come with it. She going to lose a lot of people because of it. Because a lot of people ain't going to want to be around Anthony knowing what he did to her. So it's going to take time. But then again, could it be a bad thing? No, because they can always meet new people. So at the end of the day, Dalen and Kelvin are becoming more closer than Anthony and Dalen. So at the end of the day, I still want to see Kelvin because I think they'll be pretty good friends. But like I said, we'll have to see what happens. Because eventually Kelvin and Anthony gonna come face to face. Eventually. So it's going to be interesting. But it would have been nice to see that dynamic of Amber and Kelvin. A lot of us really did want to see that. But, of course, the writers mess it up. It's not the characters that's messing up these skits. It's the improv. And it's not working at this point. That's why I said I don't review it as... I think a lot of people have cut down on reviewing because we can't. It's too confusing. The improvs are not working. They're not. Now they're starting not to make sense. And then you got Natasha out here. I mean, we don't know where they're going with these skits. And now they're back together. There are people still ain't going to be happy. Because like I said, you ain't going to please everybody. And a lot of people said they got back together, they weren't going to watch it. And the number's still going to drop no matter what. But at the end of the day, we'll have to just wait and see which way they're going to go with these skits. We don't know. But today is I am jet lagged and I am staying in bed today. I, right now, am going through my kitchen. I'm throwing out a lot of my pots and pans because I decided I wanted to get the non-toxic pots and pans and stuff. And I also got the call tomorrow for them to fix my refrigerator door is not closing, it's not staying shut, and everything is still over freezing. So they got to go in there. They may have to replace my refrigerator at this point, or they're gonna have to cut a little bit of the wall so they can get it so the door will open and close. So because what it was is when they had it in there properly, but then what happened was after they put it in there, something happened with the pipes. The pipes were behind the refrigerator. When they pulled it out and pushed it back, now the door somehow broke. So they may have to replace my refrigerator, which they may have to do. So I have to have them come out here and check the refrigerator yet again. But it is what it is. So I'm going to enjoy Sunday and enjoy my first day being at home. But yeah, I mean, everybody's not going to be happy. Bottom line. Not everybody's going to be happy with this decision. We'll have to see how this play out. And then Shayla is still a major part. So we'll see how all of this play out, whether or not they're going to stay together, whether we still going to get a divorce, because it ain't over yet. So time will tell how this plays out. But they going to still need to go to counseling, I know that much. And they definitely going to need a coach.